So, we've been talking about this idea of like really taking control of your dating life. And I think what's fascinating is this framework we've been looking at about aligning your approach with what you actually want to get out of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the dating world can be a bit of a jungle, right?
Yeah.
And what I really appreciated about this perspective is how it breaks things down into these clear categories like, what are you actually looking for? A casual fling, a one-night stand, friends with benefits, or are you on the hunt for a lifelong partner? Because, let's be real, the game plan for each is going to look totally different.
It's like you wouldn't use the same map to find a coffee shop around the corner as you were to plan a cross-country road trip.
Exactly. Different destinations, different routes. And this framework really dives deep into the nitty-gritty of those different strategies. We're talking about setting the right expectations, figuring out what kind of communication actually works for each scenario, and honestly, recognizing the types of connections that matter most depending on what you're aiming for.
So much of it comes down to being intentional, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like knowing what you want and then going after it strategically.
100%. And that's what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so let's start with, let's say you're interested in exploring casual relationships.
All right, casual dating.
What are some of the things someone should be thinking about when they're approaching dating with that goal in mind?
Well, I think the first thing is to really define what casual means to you. Because honestly, it can mean different things to different people.
Mhm.
Are we talking dinner and a movie? Are we talking more like someone to chat with and grab a coffee with? Once you have a handle on your own definition, then you can start thinking about the kind of approach that's going to get you there.
Right, because casual for one person could be like a weekly standing date,
Uh,
and for someone else, it could be just like texting every now and then.
exactly.
And so much of this framework emphasizes like matching your dating style and even the environments you choose to that relaxed, casual vibe.
Yeah, like think about it. A first date at a packed, loud bar might not exactly scream chill and casual. Right.
No.
This framework suggests like maybe a low-key cafe, a walk in the park, places where you can actually talk and connect without feeling all that pressure.
Right. Or maybe even like an activity where you're both learning something new, so there's that shared experience, but it's still pretty low key.
Yeah. And even though it's casual, finding someone with shared interests, even in this context, still really matters. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like your soulmate, but even if you both geek out over the same obscure band or you're both obsessed with trying new ramen spots, that common ground can make those casual hangouts a lot more enjoyable.
It gives you something to actually talk about.
Right. And it can make those first few dates feel a lot less awkward.
Totally. It's like that instant connection point.
Exactly.
Now, what about the communication style? In those early stages of casual dating, what does that look like?
Well, the advice we've been dissecting really emphasizes sincerity, even in casual dating. It's about being genuine, asking questions that you're actually curious about, and really listening to the answers.
Yeah, don't just go through the motions, like actually be present.
Right. And simple things like making eye contact, trying to stay relaxed, those can go a long way in building that authentic connection, even if it's meant to be lighthearted.
It's funny how those small things make such a difference.
You really do.
It's like if you're constantly checking your phone, you're sending the message that you're not really interested, right? For sure.
And those practical details, showing up on time, looking presentable, they matter, even in casual situations.
Yeah, it's a sign of respect.
It is. And as for that follow-up message, the advice is to be straightforward and friendly. No need to play games or overthink it.
Just be real. So let's switch gears a little bit. We talked about casual dating, but what about the other end of the spectrum? One night stands. It seems like that requires a whole different mindset.
Oh, totally. One-night
Yeah.
stands are all about short-term excitement, and the key word here is directness.
But also respect. Like it has to be a balance, right?
Absolutely. Directness paired with respect and transparency. And this framework really stresses the importance of making your intentions crystal clear before you even meet up.
No mixed signals.
Right. Like choose a setting that aligns with that kind of encounter.
Yeah.
You know, a bar, a party, maybe even an event where people are openly looking for that kind of connection. It just sets the right tone from the get-go.
It's about being in the right environment. And in terms of finding a partner for a one-night stand, the advice emphasizes choosing someone who's clearly looking for the same thing.
Yeah, no one wants to end up in a situation where one person is hoping for more while the other is just looking for a good time.
Right, that just leads to complications. And the date itself, Keep it lightweight. A quick drink, maybe meet up at a social event. The focus is really on that initial physical attraction.
Definitely. No need to dive into deep conversations about your childhood or your 5-year plan.
Keep it light and fun. And the communication style. Straightforward, but still polite.
Yeah, express your interest directly, but also be attentive to their cues.
Read the room.
Right. Exactly. And remember, relaxed is key, but never at the expense of safety and mutual comfort. Both people need to feel good about the situation.
Absolutely. Safety and consent are non-negotiable. And even though it's a one-time thing, those little courtesies, being presentable, being polite, they still matter.
Oh, for sure. It shows respect.
Mm.
And as for the aftermath, keep it low-key. No need for a heartfelt follow-up message. A simple acknowledgement is enough.
Just be respectful. Now, this next one is interesting. Friends with benefits.
Ooh, yeah, the FWB arrangement. That can be tricky.
It can get complicated.
It can, because you're navigating this line between friendship and physical intimacy
Mhm.
without the emotional commitment of a full-blown relationship.
It's a delicate balance.
It is, and the framework we're looking at, it really stresses the importance of setting those clear boundaries from the very beginning.
Yeah, like drawing that line in the sand.
Exactly. And the advice to choose someone you're already comfortable with, but not someone you see a romantic future with, is smart. You need that foundation of friendship, but without the risk of catching feelings that could complicate things.
It's about finding that sweet spot, and having that upfront, honest conversation is non-negotiable, right? Like, both people need to be on the same page about what they want and what the rules are.
Absolutely. It's like creating a little FWB agreement.
Right, like no emotional dependency, no exclusivity, spell it all out. And even the date ideas in this context are pretty telling, casual, spontaneous things like watching movies at home, grabbing late night food.
Yeah, it's like comfortable, low-pressure hangouts that can naturally lead to something more physical.
But without the pressure of a traditional date.
Exactly.
And communication is key, right? Like checking in regularly to make sure everyone's still comfortable and that the boundaries are being respected.
Oh, absolutely. Open communication is essential to keep things running smoothly.
You can't just let things coast along and assume everything's fine.
No assumptions in FWB territory. And you got to be ready to end things amicably if anyone's feelings start to change.
It's about being mature and respecting each other's emotions. And the advice about maintaining the friendship aspect without making things too intense after a hookup, that's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah, you don't want to send mixed signals. It's all about keeping things transparent and respecting each other's space.
So transparency and respect, that seems to be the overarching theme for making FWB work.
It really is.
Okay, let's shift gears one last time and talk about the big one, finding a lifelong partner. This is a whole different ballgame, right?
Totally different. The whole focus here is on long-term compatibility, emotional depth, and building a truly meaningful partnership.
It's about the long game.
It is. And the advice we're looking at, it really highlights the importance of aligning on those core values from the very beginning. We're talking about things like marriage, family, careers, life goals, the big stuff that forms the foundation of a lasting relationship.
You have to be on the same page about the things that truly matter.
Exactly. And it's about asking those big, open-ended questions early on to really understand someone's vision for the future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your thoughts on family? You got to dig a little deeper than just surface-level chit-chat.
It's like those questions can be super revealing.
They can. And the type of dates you go on can also tell you a lot about someone. This framework suggests things like volunteering together, taking a short trip, or even just tackling a small challenge together.
It's about seeing how someone acts in different situations.
Yeah, how they handle stress, how they interact with others, how they problem solve. You get so much more insight than you would from a fancy dinner date.
Totally. And one piece of advice that really stuck with me was to not date too frequently.
Yeah, quality over quantity.
It's about giving yourself time to reflect and process, to make sure you're not getting swept up in the excitement without really thinking things through.
Absolutely. It's easy to get caught up in that whirlwind of new connections, but taking a step back is crucial, especially when you're looking for something lasting.
It's about being mindful and intentional.
Exactly. And this framework really emphasizes that building trust takes time.
Yeah, it's not something that happens overnight.
Nope. It's about being willing to be vulnerable, to share personal experiences, and to see if that vulnerability is reciprocated.
It's like a two-way street.
It is. And honestly, patience is key.
Don't rush into anything.
Don't rush it. Don't ignore red flags just because you're feeling a strong initial attraction.
It's about looking at the bigger picture. And those little courtesies, showing up on time, putting effort into your appearance, being sincere, those still matter.
They always matter. It shows that you care and that you're taking this seriously.
And the follow-up after dates, it's about gradually deepening the connection.
Nurturing it, letting it grow organically.
So it all comes back to that initial point we talked about, intentionality,
All right.
aligning your actions with your goals.
Whether you're looking for something casual, something short-term, something with benefits, or that lifelong connection, having a clear strategy makes all the difference.
It's about taking control of your dating life and approaching it with a clear head and a plan. So as you navigate the dating world, think about it. Are you being intentional about your approach? Are your actions really aligned with what you're hoping to find?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, and it's worth taking a moment to really reflect on that.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about finding what you're looking for and creating the kind of connections you truly desire.
It's about dating smarter, not just harder.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.